Hi everybody, this is Colin with BlocksmithXR again. Today we're going to be doing a little unscheduled stream of some of the new features that have just kind of appeared or have been built into the new Blocksmith 5.0 version. If you haven't downloaded it yet, definitely get over to blocksmithxr.com and get the new 5.3 will be coming out here very soon, which will be the most stable version of 5.0 so far. So definitely see if you can get that new version, and I'll just be touching on some of the new features and really cool new additions to 5.0 in general during this stream. And we'll try and show how you can get that if you already have a builder version installed, so you don't have to go and download a whole new one. So actually, let me show you that right now. Using 5.0, you actually have kind of like any 5.0 version, you'll now have the ability to update the builder within the builder itself. So you don't have to go to the download page and download and install the new version. You with those new 5.0 versions, for any future version that's released, you can update it directly within the builder. And we're calling this feature auto update. So you're seeing my 5.0 version of the builder right now. And here we go. Let me just show it to you. Yep, so I'm using version 5.0.0.86. And I know that we have some releases ready. We have a 5.2.2 version that was just released. So I could update that immediately just by clicking this Update Available button. So whenever you're using a 5.0 or future version of the builder, just keep your eye up in this top left corner, and just by pressing that button, you can update your builder just instantly without having to go to the website, like I said, and download an installer. You can just use that button right here, top left corner, super easy, super fast update. So that is one of the really cool features that we came out with using 5.0 or with 5.0, and you won't have to. Using 5.0, you won't have to update, through the website ever again. So that's a really key feature, and I think that one's should make everybody's life a lot easier. Another feature that I wanted to touch on, and these will be a little bit deeper into the builder themselves. The first kind of like most obvious one is physics. So I've just switched over to a 5.2 or 5.3 version of the builder. So let me show that to you. So on help and about, you can see your builder version. And I'm using 5.3.0, which is unreleased as of today, but it will be coming out, either this week or very early next week. So keep your eye out, and 5.3 will be posted. And like I said, it should be the most stable version, and with all of these complete features that were initially shown in 5.0 as well. So let's get started with taking a look at some of those. All right, so I'm just going to add in a very basic object, a cube, and I'll use this cube to demonstrate a few different features. First of which is what I just talked about earlier, which is physics. So let me show you how you can actually access that. So with any new object, here I'll drag another cube in just so you can see, you have these advanced options right up here. And in those advanced options, you now have a new basically kind of toggle or checkbox, which is for enabling physics on objects. So just by hitting that button, checkbox once, I can enable physics on these objects, and add them to a stack. And just for a little bit of fun, I'll do that a couple more times. Okay, so my stack here of physics cubes, that might be a little too big because it might be a little too unsteady when I start, but let's check it out. So I'm going to play my viewer. And now, yep, there we go. There it goes. So it's my tower's falling. Beautiful. So excellent demonstration of physics. And if I really wanted that to line up perfectly, I could just use snapping points to make sure I get rid of all the kind of overlap, because that's what's making it unsteady, just like a real tower would. So definitely explore those physics options. Once again, you can enable it just by adding in any object, and then under advanced options, just enable physics, just like that. Now let me show you really quick what can be done using those physics objects. So I created just a couple of experiences here. I'll start with, classic swings. So if you have, some objects kind of like chained together like I have here, you can basically create swings. So I have some physics swings here, which I can, add to my game and see if I can kind of balance on. And when I, jump from one to the other, whoa, it will actually kind of swing out from underneath you. So if you're looking for a fun new game mechanic to add to, a parkour or a platform game, try and make some physics swings, using those kind of chain objects. That's what I did with these chains right here. And, see if you can get your player to swing, between those physics swings. That could be definitely a fun addition. And I'll do, the last two very quickly. But one is, classic setup with physics, creating dominoes. So you can now set up your own domino sets, which I will, whoop, there we go, start and watch my dominoes run. Now the great thing with these dominoes is that, whoop, looks like I need a little bit heavier object to launch that. But like I said, the great and really cool thing with these physics dominoes is that you can just, take a section that you've already made. Let's say, I want another table like this, right to the, right next to it. You can just duplicate it and I'll just rotate it around. But, you don't have to spend all that painstaking time and effort to set up one domino after another. You can just duplicate those because, this is 3D design and why not? All right, last quick physics demo is just a very simple kind of a grenade that actually explodes objects. So this is one that I found to be pretty cool. So you can just take a very simple grenade, toss it, and that grenade should, woo, blow up my whole building. Excellent. So the way that worked, I won't go all the way into it, but basically I'm blowing up the grenade and then spawning this invisible object, that has physics that then, expands and collides with some of the physics on my objects on my building there, kind of making it seem like there's an explosion. So definitely a fun use of physics as well. All right, another new feature that we added, and I'll just use a cube to demonstrate this one again, is what's called navigation. So basically any object now, including characters, can have a navigation component. And characters, they just have them by default. So, they just have this. I'll show it to you. Here we go, this little navigation piece. And you can set it to, approach the player, just walk around a scene, or actually approach an object. So let's say I want my alien here to chase after this cube. I can have it approach this object. And I want my cube to just kind of run around the scene. So I'm going to add a navigation component on my cube, and I'll have it walk around. But I'll increase its speed to 1. So now my cube should just kind of glide around my scene. And yep, there it goes. And my alien will chase it. So once again, very, very easy to add on this new feature to any existing project or any object. All I needed to do for the cube was just add that navigation component, and then characters, like I said, they already have that navigation component on them. So you just have to kind of set, some kind of navigation style, and off you go. Now, a fun thing that you can do with that feature is, here we go. So I recreated kind of a classic, video game mechanic, and that's bombs chasing you. And these bombs will actually know where I'm going though, so I have to kind of watch out, because when they hit me, whoa, yes, they explode and I respawn. But these little rolling bombs are using a navigation component, so I can even run up on the hill. It will chase me, around the hill, unless it gets to a point that's too little too steep for it. Yeah, so it can't follow me anymore. So there you go. You can see the navigation process in action right there. And you can use that for little bombs that chase you, or AI that roams around a map, or even something kind of silly like this. So I recreated just a very simple robot that I think we're all familiar with, and I made it so you can kind of feed it. It looks a little evil, so I called it the evil version of that robot. But yeah, it just cleans up dirt, but it has that navigation component on it, so you can kind of watch it kind of move around as well. All right. Let's see. So I also wanted to show you, one of the really cool things about the builder is that it can show, or it can, you can design for different devices using it. So if you know that you want to, have a mobile app, that you've built, using the builder, you can kind of design, your scene for mobile. But trying to get those styles has always been a little tricky, and which is why we've added now this new art style button in the top left corner, where you see the little tree there, and we now have 3 art styles. The first one, or I should say this one, the one I'm on right now, is realistic. And as you can see with this art style, you have a pretty realistic, almost photorealistic kind of world view. So if I play, then I can see things like shadows and very thick fog, very kind of high quality materials on rocks and trees and things, but also very, very nice looking water shaders, so it looks like that water is actually kind of moving, and I have those kind of waterfall effects as well. I can switch to a different art style. Let's say I'm gonna actually see this on the Oculus Quest. I know that the Oculus Quest uses this stylized art style, but you can also, if you can just kind of check out these art styles and see which ones you like. That's why they're it's a style, not a setting. The setting you change for your actual specific devices. The art styles, if you just like the stylized art style more, you can design for that style, and there's no problem with that. So let me show you this art style really quick. All right, so as you can see, exact same scene. However, the trees are different. There's a little bit less fog. I still have those shadows, but things like the water shader and that waterfall aren't quite as high quality. So this art style would run better on slightly less powerful devices like an Oculus Quest. And then our final art style is called low poly, and this was just kind of the traditional mobile / low poly art style. So but also if you just like designing low poly scenes, this one would be a great one for you, because you can just kind of build those low poly scenes really easily. So let me just play that really quick, and you can get a sense. So on mobile, even these shadows would be gone. My trees are obviously a lot more low poly, so I'm kind of getting to those. Getting to those areas where if you have just a ton of objects in it, definitely try and use low poly, because that's very handy there. Also just for very large scenes, if you ever see this, please test on this device. You can switch to low poly if you're encountering any slowdowns. That's always an option. All right, I just want to show off just a couple more pieces of the builder, or excuse me, new features. And for this one, we'll just save a quick sphere, because if you create a really cool project, hopefully a lot more cool than just my very basic sphere, you now have some options to actually share with us, the Blocksmith team. So if you've created a really cool scene or fun project that you really want featured, or just want us to take a look at, you can share that with us, and that will we'll take a look and see if it's featureable, and hopefully we'll try and get some feedback to you as well. So if you want our attention, or want us to comment on some of your experiences, definitely use this top option here. Also, if you run into any issues or bugs with the builder software, then use the bottom option to share it with our team, and I'll just do a test of this. Let's say this is a sphere. Obviously that one is correct, but if you run into any problems or bugs in the builder, just save your scene and share it with us. Give us that brief description about what it is or what's going on, what you expect to happen that's not that's actually not happening, and we will take a look at it and get back to you as well. So definitely share your projects with us, and you now have a very easy option to do that. All right. So lastly, I wanted to just cover one new feature, and that is a new object in the special tab. I'll get rid of my sphere for that and add in 2 cubes. All right, and I'll put a quick material on these so they just look a little bit better too. And I want kind of like a wall for this one. All right, so this might look a little familiar to you. However, we now have a new way of, oops, there we go, special, of basically connecting 2 objects together using a hinge. So, hinges you'll use in, everyday life for opening doors, for, possibly you could use a, some kind of hinge for like a motor that needs to spin, or, somewhere, something that just, rotates a certain way that, our objects don't normally rotate. So I think the hinge on the door was a perfect example. And we've made this, be far easier than it was, because now all you have to do is just drag in that hinge object, place it where you would, place a normal hinge. Fortunately, I only need 1 of these. I don't need, 2 or more hinges for my door. And then just choose what object you want to be, have that hinge rotation. So I want this door to have that hinge. So I'm going to see if I can, connect it. And now when I try and rotate my door, it will rotate around that hinge. And that applies to all of the different types of rotation as well. And one really great thing with this is that, you can group things together, you can move them around, you can even duplicate them, and they will still stay hinged. Our old hinge setup didn't have that kind of versatile approach. That hinge broke sometimes, or you couldn't really see where it was. Now we have that hinge object to make that super clear and easy to use. All right. So I do want to let you know that we have a new kind of subscription plan with 5.0 as well. And these new plans, I should say, there are multiple, actually really focus on, and 5.0, the 5.0 builder does this too, but they really focus on remote learning. So if you've been struggling with your remote learning setup as a teacher or even as a student, using 5.0 and especially these plans, these what we're calling group plans, and we'll talk about these in a future stream coming up. So definitely, pay attention to our upcoming streams. But these new remote learning plans will make it much easier for students at home to get the latest and greatest builder on their computer. And also, there's other major benefits with curriculum, because instead of using credits to spend to buy a curriculum and that kind of thing, you now just have access to everything using those group plans. So definitely watch our next upcoming streams so you can kind of see those new group plans as they're coming out. So we'll kind of leave it there. The last note that I just wanted to say is definitely subscribe to our channel, and that way you'll get info about those new upcoming streams. So subscribe to the BlocksmithXR channel, and you'll hear all about all the cool new stuff, features, new versions, some of those new plans that come out. And if you subscribe, you'll see about all that information too. Now, I was gonna try and kind of end it there, but I did just remember a couple of things that I wanted to show you, which was, I think this will be a good example of that, which was basically we've really upgraded our scene, kind of advanced scene graphics as well. So just really quick, I'll kind of touch on some of those options. So now we have this new, under scene, this advanced scene graphics button. And if I open that, then I can change, the distance that I have shadows appear. So one thing, that, some people may be familiar with if they built an interior or indoor environment. I'll just kind of create a little example of this really quick, is having a shadow that only appears, kind of close around you. So you can see that I've just made this huge, shadowy object that actually looks really cool. And it's casting its shadow over, this whole mountainy area. But when I play, I might only see that shadow. Yeah, so I can see that things off in the distance, they aren't really covered in that shadow. It's a little hard to see because I'm in the middle of that sandstorm, but you can see right in there, you know, that shadow is not going all the way around. However, we can, using this advanced scene graphics, you know, increase that shadow distance from, I think it's 20 meters to, you know, I could even increase it to potentially, you know, you don't want to go too crazy with this because it could decrease from your, you know, from the performance of the experience, but you could go to, you know, 200. I'll go to 100 meter shadow distance there. And then you also have some of these options like, you know, some fog you can add to your scene. So you can watch kind of my background here as I increase and decrease that slider. So I'm kind of creating, you know, that fog, really kind of thick fog effect, or just kind of like a night, you know, time effect there. So I really like that, you know, kind of thick fog because it also works well with the color blending. So you can kind of, you know, give color to that fog as well. So I chose, you know, red fog for my scene on Mars here. And then you can just kind of increase, or excuse me, decrease or increase that color blending to give that fog, you know, a certain color feeling. So, you know, I added red there. If you're doing like an underwater scene, you could do blue, you know, choose whatever color you want for your particular scenes. And you can really kind of customize that, that feel of your scene. So now my shadows are extending, you know, as far as I can see really. And I have, you know, once again, it's a little hard to tell in the sandstorm, but I have that, you know, thick fog going on as well. And you can really see that from up here. All right, one final piece, which I think, you know, this is kind of more for, I would say, power users. But if you've ever found that you know, kind of want to change around your order of your hierarchy, we now have some hierarchy sorting options. So by default, the hierarchy sorts by the oldest objects added. So in other words, the volcano, which I'm standing on, was the first object I added to this scene. Next was the Saw Mountains, and then I added a few more mountains. But I can also change the sorting order to be alphabetical, or to be by the newest objects I've added. So I just added in this cube and stretched it out across my map to create that shadow. I'll actually delete that. And now you can see, and I'll just kind of add in a new object, those newest objects that you add are now at the top of the list. So you have those great sorting options. And then finally, one piece that you know, has always kind of I've struggled with a little bit. Let me find a good example of this. All right, so let's say you have an object in one scene, you know, that's kind of located at a very particular position, and you want that exact same object in your next scene. So when I pasted this object in there, it just kind of moved to, you know, whatever position I was at when I pasted it in there. However, we now have these buttons here that allow you to copy where an object is located, so copying its position. You can even copy its rotation and scale, or even reset those values. But I'll show you what you can do with the position. So now that I copied the position of the object in this scene, so once again, click on the position, copy, I can easily paste it in this scene. So now this object, my rock here, is at exactly the same place where the rock is in this scene. And that's very, very useful for multi-scene editing. If you've ever tried to, you know, have an animation, you know, be similar across multiple scenes, then you're always having to copy those, you know, position or rotation values, you know, between those different scenes. It's always kind of a little bit of a pain, but that should make that a little bit, or quite a bit easier. I'm finding I'm using that feature quite a bit. One other final piece I wanted to touch on is our units. You know, one major kind of feature request we've always heard from our users is, you know, I want to use something other than centimeters. And, you know, fortunately, we've actually had that feature for a very long time, but it was just kind of tucked away in our settings. So we've opened that up so you can really change, you know, whatever measurement unit you're using and kind of tailor it to something you're comfortable with. So I'm using meters right now, but if I wanted to switch to feet, let me show that one more time. I can click on either of these and it will immediately take me to my measurement units tab in my preferences dialog. And I can change that to foot, inches, centimeters, whatever I'm comfortable with there. And it will immediately take place. So, once again, you can, just very easily switch between those different measurement units. All right, so I wanted to just really quick touch on just a couple more topics. Number one, once again, just kind of, I'm gonna hit this again. Please, subscribe to our channel, because you'll hear more about this information and new features coming out, and we'll be doing more live streams like this where we explain some of those really cool features that we've just released, and also things, really important things like new pricing plans or subscriptions, or kind of the same thing. And so yeah, just keep an eye on these live streams, and definitely subscribe to our channel if you want to hear more information about this. All right, the final feature that I wanted to show you, and I'll do it in my Mars scene because this is going to be a lot cooler, is being able to actually record a video in the builder and then being able to actually upload it to your profile extremely easily. So when you play the viewer, if you are using it new, you'll probably see this new dialog that says, just press R to record. I have already kind of disabled that, but I can just press R whenever I'm ready, and I can record this scene. So I'm going to press R now, and my scene will start recording. So now whatever I'm looking at will be part of a video that I can upload to my profile and attach to the experience scene, or experience webpage. So no longer will I just have that static picture, but I'll have this cool video that I can use to promote my experience as well. So I just pressed R to finish my video. It's just going to process it really quick. And when I exit the viewer, I'm just going to get this quick dialog. I captured this video. Do you want to actually upload it to my media? Yes, and I can actually preview that. And you can, this even gives you the option to record multiple videos at once. So I could have recorded, 3 or 4 there, and then chosen, which ones I wanted to upload or not. This one looks good, so I'm just going to upload this video. And when you do upload it, it will be immediately available on your profile, so you can actually add that to the experience webpage, wherever you are located. So definitely, go to your go to your favorite experiences that you've made, record a quick video, and use that as the new, preview kind of image for your experience, so people can get a really cool sense of what you made, very easily. We'd love to see more of those. Okay, so once again, I just wanted to let you guys know before I close this stream out that, please subscribe to our channel. You'll hear a lot more information about these updates as they come out. And, you'll also hear about the live stream that we're going to be coming out really soon with, about the new kind of pricing plans that are focused on making remote learning as easy and powerful as possible. So definitely, subscribe to hear about those streams as they come out. All right. I'll see you all later for our next challenge stream. Really looking forward to doing that. So definitely join us again. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the Blocksmith YouTube channel to hear more about these live streams and to hear more about that group pricing plan as it comes out. All right. See ya.